Okay, I am going to do some Orc Commandos. Now, what I've done is, because these are quite complex kits, I'm going to just literally do one at a time, one per video. I'm always going to probably go for the specialist options, and I'm going to start with the knob, basically. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... I've highlighted in blue the different areas to speed it up, because you literally have to spread across all three kits, all three sprues basically as you go along. So I'm just going to cut this here to make it a bit easier to handle the sprues and get the parts. And I'm going to start with building the body of the knob. So to do that, you've got to sort of head over to 108. Basically, I think this is if you put them in a row and face them upwards, should be kind of your left side one if 26 is up in this corner. So I'm gonna get 108 out, which is the main body. Now I've already reviewed, given some thoughts on the actual kit itself, and I know I'm kind of a bit late to the game on this one, but they've kept it in circulation for a very long time, and I think that's because the thing is very popular for a lot of reasons. Partly because it's such good value for money. So there's 108, and I think what we have to do then on foot, and then 109 is a bit further down to get the leg off. Now, I think we need C110. Now, unfortunately, this means that we're going to have to head across the sprues, and I think we're going to basically go to the rightmost sprue, which is kind of over here. Again, that would have 112 in the top corner. Come down, and here's 110. So now that I've got those three bits all nice and ready, I'm just going to kind of have a good look. There's a mould line running right down here, which I don't like. I've reached a point where I'm not wasting too much time on my videos now cleaning off mould lines, because it can cause them to go on for far too long. But I'll just do the start, and I'll tidy that up as much as I can later on. As I said, I don't want to slow down my build anymore by constantly cleaning every single little thing up, when I'm gonna do that anyway on the paint. Okay, so it's just really more about taking the horrible lumps off rather than every single little mould line. There we go. So just make sure you've cleaned up the worst of the injection points. I have to admit there's quite a strong mould line on this kit, maybe because the actual sprue's in use so much, I suppose. There we go. And moving on to here, let's tidy up this little 110. Even if you don't remove the mould lines straight away, do get rid of the injection points, because if you don't, the model might not fit together. So I don't feel like I want to spend ages sort of like cleaning up every single mould line on these videos anymore, because I'm just trying to show you how to put them together, not how to make them, showcase ready. And as I said, they're easy to clean up later on. Okay, so if you look here, kind of goes in nice and neat. Make sure it breathes, give it a good, we're not dealing with push fit models here, we're doing with very robust models. Okay, and this here looks like it acts as a kind of groin plate of sorts, well, a belt buckle actually. Now, for those of you who don't know the bit of like lore behind Orc Commandos, they're kind of like stealth orcs, if you can believe such madness. And basically they're somewhat distrusted in the Orc community because they are, quote, acting too human. orcs are notorious for mimicking, you know, things that they find interesting about other creatures, other races, which I always find interesting. So they kind of create these joke versions. Right, now that I've got that done, I need its backpack. So the backpack, if I just find it again, that is... Ooh, let me find it. As I said, it's spread over everywhere, and even with my little paint points to help guide me, I'm still struggling to find some things as I go. Here it is, middle spray. About halfway down. Backpack. Now this is a big backpack. I mean, obviously it's a proper beefy thing, that. And then you need 112 to attach to that. No, I think 112, then heading over to your left, is in the top corner. Then give these a good quick clean up so that they glue properly. What we have here is a metal shoulder plate. And his backpack. Okay, so there's quite a lot of bad mold lines on this. I'm not particularly pleased about the heavy mold lines, but I can, you know, tidy them up. It just requires a lot of work. You can see them running all the way through. You can see there's like a little clear, you know, just to be clear which way up it goes. Stick bomb to the top. There's a little dimple and nipple as well to hold it together. And then this is a metal plate. Now this metal plate oddly goes up here. What is this? See, when I look on, yeah, so it kind of, how very interesting, what a weird little thing it is. Right, let me look at this carefully. So this goes in there, and this kind of sits on top of it. My goodness, it looks like, I'm not even sure what this is. This is such a weird little thing. I mean, it's like, it looks like it's got some kind of tech on it, so it feels like it might be like a weird orky comlink or something, which wouldn't surprise me because the orcs will just turn any trash whatsoever, like this. Basically, it looks like it pins on here, you see. Yeah, they'll quite happily turn any. Oh no, I see. It goes further down, right. Kind of goes right towards the back end. Yeah, it's some sort of weird, like, potentially some kind of orcoid comlink or radar thing, which, you know, considering weird orc behaviour doesn't surprise me, to be quite honest. Orcs are notorious for just, as I say, grabbing any bit of rubbish, cobbling it together, and willing it to work. So basically, if it looks like something, then it's agreed that it is that thing in the orc psychology, and then for reasons what I can't quite explain, but sheer willpower does the rest for the orcoid race. Now, that'll give that a bit of time to dry up, and it's time to build his gun arm. So in order to get his gun arm up and running, we need to head over to the sprue on our right, and then there's a few parts to this now. So there's 17, which is the gun arm itself. Got some kind of custom shooter here by the look of it. I like it because it looks like older, or it kind of looks like what they used to have that was always defined as a bolt gun at one stage. Okay, so we got that. We got 118 over here, which is the sight. And then we got, oh sorry, no, 118, is it a sight 118? Yeah, I think it's 118 and 118 combined. Look like they build up a sight. Again, let's just tidy up the roughest parts of this. Right, so we got this orc kind of scope building up. Now, it looks like it kind of gets built over the top of this here. So you can see how there's like the standard sights, if my camera would zoom in on it. There we go. So there's the standard sighting. I am not convinced that my camera's zooming in there yet. And then you can see how there's like a little slot point there. And then it feels like, let me just, right, it looks like it's actually an option. So it's an option whether or not you want the big or the little sight. So I will go for the big sight because I like the look of it. There we go, nice chunky Dakar sight. Yeah, so it looks like these are sight options rather than anything else. Okay, now this is, I'm just going to dry fit it in here, make sure that it's a good fit. Should be very upright. It's going to make painting a bit difficult later on, but you know. Okay, now to build his claw arm. No, actually, yeah, claw arm next. So we've got lots of different little bits to this. Starting with the leftmost sprue is the main claw itself. So that's that little bit done, and then moving over this side, there's a few parts of the claw arm to grab hold of. So we've got, let's have a look, 1, 2, 1, which is this kind of pipe, this electrical cabling, sorry. Then we've got 1, 2, so that was 1, 2, 3. Then we got 1, 2, 1 over here, part of the claw. Then finally, I think somewhere here we've got 1, 2, 2. So that's 4 parts that build up the claw. Again, quite a significant mould line down this, unfortunately. I probably am going to have to clean this up now because I'm not convinced that I can get into it later on. I need a real one of these. I know I keep saying that in my videos, but I do. I need one with a hand holder because it's very difficult using this one sometimes. That one cleaned up. This one's cleaned up. I have to be careful with this one, it feels flimsy. It's like a soft pipe, so be careful, don't hold it by that. If you're going to take the webbing off, put your thumb underneath it, the mould line, and it'll just help you get the mould line safely off it without bending it and breaking it. Just gently on the underside, just like if you do like a kind of curved motion, you shouldn't cause any damage. Then the pipe, again, I've got a bit of a, I keep calling it a pipe, it's not a pipe, is it? It's a cable. Bit of a mould line, put your thumb to secure, gently downwards. I'm trying to get the injection point off safely. Then just down here where there's a bit of webbing. Now underneath, go support it as best you can. Up, gently around, don't put too much pressure. You should be able to clean that up nicely. Okay, and then finally this one. There we go. All nicely cleaned up. Said I wasn't convinced that I was going to be able to get back to those later on. Okay, let me try the dry fit first and make sure that I'm putting everything together in the right way. So now it feels like this chunky part is going to attach to the bottom. Now that would leave the cabling heading upwards, and it looks like it kind of slots into his backpack when it's done. So I can glue that one last when it's a bit more secure. These two go together like this, and then the claw hand, the actual claw itself, will sit here. So let me just double check I'm getting that the right way around. It's gonna nestle in there. Let's just double check I get it in the right place first. and then this is going to go on top of it, potentially to just lock it in place. Yeah, there we go. So it's a closed claw. That can go over there. Now I've got a nice solid bond. Now, looks like it's going to be easier to glue this arm on first. A bit of breathing room to get the glue in properly and dried, because that's a strong point. And then that means that this one will be able to slot on nicely here and then into that point there. So just put some glue there. There. And particularly on these little pieces, it becomes essential to let that glue breathe, otherwise it just ends up with a weak bond. Okay, right, now we are just heading towards doing his head. So 113 and 115 for this version of him. So there's 113. That's the back of the head. And then 115, your left sprue, I think it is. Yeah, I think it is. Or is it the left, or was it the... Hang on. Let me just double check. No, actually it wasn't. It was the middle, and it's kind of like near the right side there. Okay, now again, let's have a look for mold lines. So the mold line's kind of heading across. I'm just going to remove it now, because as I said, I think we're getting to a point where we got bits that are hard to clean up later on. But it's the last little bit, so it's not a big deal. And then over at this one, this is kind of the head bonding into the neck. So definitely an area that's going to be difficult to remove mold lines if I don't get rid of them now. Okay, now let's just check the bond on this one, so the joining point, because it looks quite weird. Let's see here. So you got this kind of sharp bit going towards the bottom by the look of it. Oop, so slides in there. You can see the sharpest part kind of sits at the bottom, and then his head will nestle nicely into that. Okay, so soften in. Bit more glue on the underside, other side, and gently let it breathe. There he is, all done. I'm not going to base him because I don't tend to base my models straight away, because I prefer to do a bit of decoration on the base. So there we go. That is how to complete the Orc knob, Kommando knob from Kill Team.